Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamshachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramamam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We salute Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the destroyer of the demons like Kamsa and Chanura, the teacher of the world and the leader of the universe. Our salutation to him again and again. So we are back to our reading of Bhagavatam, and that is we are in chapter 9 of the volume 1 and verse number 25. So we heard that the Bhishma was praising Bhishma on the glory of Krishna. He was talking about the glory of Bhagavan Krishna. And in that he said that you are, well, he said that he is beyond Bhagavan Sakshat Adda Narayana Puman. That's beautiful prayers of praise of Bhagavan, that he is the Adi, the beginning of everything, even of the Brahma and other gods and goddesses, Shivam, and only the gods like Devarshi Narada. He says Narada, Devarshi Narada Sakshat Bhagavan Kapilo Nipa. Kapil, Narada, they only understand the glory of, oh Krishna, your glory they only understand. And lastly we said, by concentrating one's mind upon whom with intense devotion, and by reciting whose names and glories with one's lips, a dying aspirant is liberated from the bondage of desire and duty. So Bhagavan, that is the glory of God, that at the point of death, if someone remembers him, repeats his holy name, and thinks of him, so he becomes free from all duties and bondage. No? And that Bhagavan, may that Bhagavan, with his radiant face beautified by his benevolent smiles and lotus-like eyes, who is generally realized only in the heart of in meditation, remains before my very physical eyes till life leaves my body. So he's praying, oh Lord, remain here till my body, this prana, leaves this physical frame. It is Bhagavan in the Bhagavad Gita said that last thought, last thinking when the body goes, if you go on thinking of God, and then you need not have to be born again. Your all karmas are passed away. That's why this is a cherished desire of all devotees. How you live the body. That's why you say people when someone is dying, go and chant Hari Om Ramakrishna. In our tradition. Other tradition they will chant whatever their tradition, the name of the Lord. Now Sruta, the narrator, now said after this. Then Yudhishthira asked Bhishma. So Bhishma was lying who was resting on a bed of arrows. Many questions came in the mind of Yudhishthira, the elder brother of the Pandavas. Many questions relating to what? Relating to virtue, in the hearing of the assembled rishis. Then that truth knower, the knower of truth, Bhishma, then responded to this question of Yudhishthira. See, Bhishma is lying, imagine a scene. Bhishma is lying on the bed of arrows. He has no body consciousness. So he is at ease there now. How can one stay? Yogis can stay, no? And at that time, Yudhishthira, good time, and Yudhishthira is asking about the virtues. What are the virtues of human life? What is the duty of father and mother? All these things question. Then the Bhishma, who knows all the truth knower, expounded in brief and in detail, shortly as also greatly, with illustration drawn from the ancient tradition, giving citation from the old examples, old stories, a variety of themes. What are the themes? The duties of men in general. What should be the duty of every human being? Their duties according to their varna and ashrama. Chatur varnam maya srishta. What are the Chatur varna? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Brahmin class, Kshatriya, warrior class, businessmen, merchants, and working group. The society is divided in the ancient time in four divisions. So describing what is the duty of a Brahmin, what is the duty of a Kshatriya warrior, how he should be just, bring just type of war. What does not mean reckless, no? There is great discipline in it. You cannot kill another opponent in this way, that way. All these rules are there. So what is the duty of that? Because everyone's goal is to performing these duties, they will realize God. That's the main thing. Whole Indian society philosophy is centered around that. You do a Shudra, you are laboring class, or you're construction people, or those who actually for whom we survive in the society. So their duty, what they will do and how they will reach God. So if God realization for all, but there are different duties, performing duties. An ashrama is sannyas ashrama, grihastha ashrama, banaprastha ashrama. So student ashrama. That's a কি বলে?
That's a phase of life.
What is the ashrama? বর্ণ আশ্রম আশ্রম হচ্ছে ব্রহ্মচর্য আশ্রম then it's গারস্থ আশ্রম সন্ন্যাস আশ্রম student ashram brahmacharya garastha sannyas all these ashram they're all ashram. This is also oriented towards God realization. How is brahmachari will push that, open that. So, what are the duties of this brahmachari? Brahmacharya ashram. What is the duty of one who is in a grihastha, married life, no? Student life, married life, retired life, vanaprastha. And the fourth stage is the ashrama, sannyasa life. So these are the ashramas, varna and ashrama. All these duties was described by Yudhishthira asked a question and replied by Bhishma. And the twofold.
Does this ashrama has to be your age or your mental age?
Age is not the question.
Physical age or mental age?
Wherever in society, previously they used to live in the society. Age, of course, one is, but mainly so long they are student. So long then they go get into married life. So long, 25, 20 years, that was the division. Normal calculation was like this. The twofold codes of conduct laid down in the Vedas. What is the twofold code of conduct? Shreya and Preya. These are the two directions. Attaining the worldly prosperity and salvation. Preya is the worldly prosperity and salvation, freedom from all bondage. Rules of charity. Kingly duties. You are a king. What should be king's duty? Because they are all kings, no? Arjuna, Bhima, Nakula, Sahadeva, etc., who were surrounded Bhishma himself. Page 1, verse number 26 to 28. So the kingly duties of one seeking liberation. What is the duty of a king? What is the duty of a person who is seeking for God and how to realize God? A whole gamut of human understanding that question. And it was asked by Yudhishthira, and Bhishma, lying on the arrow bed, is responding to this. Duties of women, duties of one pursuing the path of devotion, the life's values of virtue, wealth, pleasure, and salvation with the means of attainment, and so on. So, last questions were asked, and these answers were given by Bhishma. While he was expounding these profound spiritual themes, he neared the time for him to end his life. So, after saying so, his last work is done and he is ready to leave the body. And he was waiting. That is called the Uttarayana period. Uttarayana period means the sun in the northern solstice. So that the day will be gradually, that is auspicious time for dying, is considered. For Brahmagyanis, they can die anytime, there is no timing. But it is conventional that if one dies, it's considered auspicious because he goes into the path of light and more light and more light. And days are gradually becoming bigger and longer and longer. Moon is becoming full moon. So, going towards fulfillment, light, more light, more light. So the soul's journey will be not in darkness. That's the idea we get. So the Uttarayana Marga, the northern solstice of the sun, which the yogis like Bhishma, who die only when they will. They have the will to die. We have no freedom. We may die any time. What time will come, we do not know. That's why we say when we die, you people be around and chant Jai Ramakrishna. So that is for us. But to those who are realized soul, they can wait. Let me die when the auspicious time comes. There's no need, but they have the power and they can retain their body. So this is has got the boon that he will die only when he wants to die, not like us. Our karma will force us to die or not to die. Some people are suffering so much. They want to die, but still life breath does not go. And who does not want to go, and they are also taken, snatched away from life. No? So we are ordinary people's karma. But Bhishma is not such ordinary. Boshu, one of the Bosus of the 8 Bosus. So he was waiting. Yogis like Bhishma who die only when they will generally wait for their departure. And they only wait for their departure. That we find that even in Ramakrishna's life. He asked the almanac to turn and stop somewhere. And then others think that he decided his day, which day he will leave the body. No. That's what happened when Swami Vivekananda, he also that turned the pages of the almanac and then stopped somewhere. And that is believed that he died on the day he wished to leave. Even we hear that here Swami Prabhupada, Swami P, left the body on the 4th of July. But it was 3rd of July. 3rd of July, his condition was not so good, and everyone was called, and all the sadhus and nuns, that time many sadhus and nuns were here, monks and nuns were here, all called one by one, and I gave the Swami Brahmananda, we have here. Brahmananda Swami did that. He called Prabhupada Swami and other disciples one by one who were around and asked everyone individually, blessed them everyone. And then I heard and then to buy from everyone, and no attachment to anyone. Birajananda Maharaj, Sridharananda Swami told us, no? He also called his sevakas, the servants, attendants who served him, and then called one by one, one by one, one by one, and then get ready, and they left. So Swami P was also here, where from the third, his health was not good, he was waiting, and he's asking, what is this time? It's 10 o'clock, night, third night at 10 o'clock. And again, after some, what is the time? Till it crossed midnight, then it became fourth. And he selected that day to leave because Swamiji left on fourth. So anyhow, why he decided, that is reason, we need not to go through that. But Swamiji selected the 4th of July. And then, so we hear that Swami Prabhupada left on the 4th. So they have some control over themselves to leave the body in proper time, whatever they select. So this is Bhishma was now, after giving so much advice for duties of everyone in every phase of life, and then ultimately decided to give up the body. Now, before giving up, Bhishma's hymn to Krishna. This is the verse number 30 on page 41. Did I read the right thing or no? I'm gone too far. On 25. We did. So now we are in the verse number 30. 30 says, that great warrior who could meet 1,000 combatants single-handed, who is talking about Bhagavan Krishna. Bhishma's hymn, just to leave the body, he's praising the Lord Krishna and saying, that great warrior who could meet 1,000 combatants single-handed, he does not need any other help. One single person fighting how much? Thousands of combatants. That means so much power he has. Now stopped his speech. Being without any attachment, he could fix his mind with eyes open on the Lord with 4 hands, who was standing before him in his luminous robe of yellow silk. So that great warrior who could meet 1,000 combatants single-handedly now stopped his speech. Means this is for Bhishma. Bhishma stopped talking there. And then being without any attachment, no attraction or losing their identity for anyone. That is the bondage, no? When last thought time, if you think of anything else, you are drawn back again to your own. So if free from all attachment, he could fix his mind with the eyes open on the Lord. His eyes was totally, Krishna was standing there, and the Bhishma's eyes went just to the Krishna. With 4 hands, who was standing before him in his luminous robe of yellow silk. His mind was free from all sinful tendencies because of the practice of concentrated meditation on the Lord. He was so pure all the time and truthful and lived such a wonderful life or ideal. So his mind was concentrated in the Lord. All the pain due to the wounds on his body caused by weapons disappeared as the Lord's look fell on him. Beautiful description, bhakti book, no? And Krishna, the Bhishma is looking intently on Krishna, free from attachment from all other things. The body, because he was a warrior, so in this war there are so many wounds and bleeding here and there. But Krishna get a glance like this, and with that glance, all his physical suffering and wounds disappeared. His senses having ceased to run after their objects, that is, His senses are not turning to any other direction but to Krishna only. They are held in absolute stillness. The eyes are transfixed on Krishna. The mind is transfixed in Krishna. All the senses are focused on Krishna. When he was thus lying there ready to die, then he recited the following hymns addressed to Krishna. That moment, now everything detached from everything, again his last prayers, looking at Krishna, he started praying. As we speak in English, so he was speaking in Sanskrit. Maybe difficult for us. We think, my God, how we spoke such long sentences, Sanskrit, top. But we forget to understand that is a common language. As we speak English, as we speak our mother tongue, so Sanskrit is their mother tongue. So what he said, the hymn started, the hymns of Krishna. This is also Krishna, Sri Bhisma Uvacha, 32 verse. Bhisma, Sri Bhisma Uvacha. Now Bhisma, looking intently on Krishna, free from all attachment, and looked at him and started saying the praise. What are the praise? May my mind, freed from every desire, be an offering unto you. D, the Supreme Lord, now appearing as a noble scion in the Jodu's clan, but who is in reality the all-pervaded being, who in the midst of his absorption in his inherent bliss desired to have a sportive diversion. He was always, his Krishna is who? Who is Krishna? He started. He is born in the clan of Jodu clan. And in reality, he is all-pervading being, Satchidananda. See, that's why Hindu books, no, you go, we read the Chandi morning, what they say. Mother is everywhere, all-pervading, Satchidananda. This is Satchidananda, all-pervading. What is the difference between Krishna and then Mother? Why do you fight? That's the beauty of Indian spiritual tradition. These rishis always point out, foundation is Satchidananda. He is appearing to you like Krishna, born in the family of the Jodhus. But who is in reality all-pervading Brahman, being, who in the midst of his absorption in his inherent bliss, he was staying in his own infinite bliss, and then sportingly desired to have a sportive diversion. He wanted to play. That's why Ramakrishna is Jagat Leela. This world is a play, fun for God. What is the fun? Why he wants fun? That I cannot say. He wills. He was in his own blissful state, absorbed, but he started playing a fun. And then assumed his power of Yogamaya, taking we call Maya, Brahman, such a Bhagavan, Samaya, Ajopishan, etc., though he is not born, but he is called Samaya, by his own Maya. And here they are saying, by his power of Yogamaya. It is whose power? Yogamaya is not something else. Hey, you come and help me. It is his own power. He exercised that power, and it's Yogamaya, as a result of which has come forth this unimaginable vast flow. That is this universe. So this whole universe has come out by the Yogamaya. We call by Maya, no? Brahman with Maya, this universe manifested. So only difference is that in Vedanta will say all mitha. And here they will say, it is no mitha, it is play of God. God playing. Khelati Bhagavan Brahmande. Bhagavan, God is playing. He playing. It is not you. There is no you. It is God himself playing. Sportive mood. That's why they say sportive mood. Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamala Varna Ravikar Gauravo Ambaro Dadhane Bakur alaka kula britananabjan vijaya sakherati rastu me anavadya. So he says, as result of which has come forth is unimaginable vast flow, that is this universe, the realm of being. May I have, I means who? Bhishma. Bhishma is saying, may I have unfailing and absolute devotion which seeks no liberation even to Krishna, the friend of Arjuna, who has an enchanting body of blue sting and robes of yellow silk, brilliant like the rays of the morning sun, and whose lotus face is fringed with curly forms, alaka. Huh? So it is giving the description of Sri Krishna, how he is standing before, and he is thinking of that, and he is praising that God. But you understand, he has full knowledge that he is the supreme Brahman. He pervades everywhere. That is the Satchidananda. He was in his own sportive, in his own self, in absorbed and in sportive mood. He, by his Yogamaya, the Shakti, manifested himself in this, what we see, and himself also. And he is standing before with enchanting body, with blue color. Krishna's body is blue. Ramakrishna said, why blue? It is because distance. Yes. So there is no color. Sky has no color, but we see is blue sky. It's because it is distance that gives the view. So it is also Krishna, looks like blue because he is actually Satchidananda. His hair rendered brown with the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses. He is giving the description. He was in the war field so long. So the hoofs of the horses, the dust, his face become like brown. His face adorned with sweat caused by exertion in battle. His armor pierced and blood dripping from his skin on account of a sharp arrow shot by me. Oh, for Krishna, of such description, may my mind have unfailing hankering. So let my mind go to that Krishna of this unfailing. The 35th verse, positioning the chariot between the two opposing armies at his friend's bidding and consuming, as it were, the lives of the men of opposing army by his look. May Krishna, the friend of Arjuna, station thus be the object of my abiding love. So he is giving the description of Krishna, one description, and saying that Krishna, this Krishna who took this role and worked this way, controlling the chariot and being the charioteer of Arjuna, let my eyes be fixed with Krishna. May I have supreme devotion, 36. May I have supreme devotion to the holy feet of the Lord, who by teaching the truth of the Atman, rid the ignorance of Arjuna, who felt overwhelmed by the thought of the sin he would be incurring by causing the death of his own clansmen arrayed in the battle order on both sides, saying that Krishna who gave the Gita in the middle of the battle, I salute him. Let my love go unpointed. These are the prayers of Bhishma. 37. In the field of battle, in order to make true my word, that I would make thee take up arm, and thus break thy pledge, word, not to touch any weapon. Krishna says, in this war, I will never touch any weapon. But Bhishma said, I did such a fight that to break God's own promise. Thou did actually abandon thy promise in the guise of protecting Arjuna in imminent danger and holding in hand your divine discus, Sudarshana, rushed at me like a lion against an elephant, causing tremors of the earth by your strides, forgetting even your slipped upper garment in the course of thy charge. With your armor pierced by the sharp arrows of a murderous enemy like me, and your body bathed in blood, you did rush at me as if to kill me. May that Krishna of that battlefield, looming vividly in my memory, be the refuge of my soul. So it is all fun. They're fighting with God Himself, no? And God said, I will not hold the weapon, but Bhishma fought such furious war to kill Arjuna. But to protect Arjuna, ultimately, Lord break his promise. He's not saying you broke your promise, but you say, in the vein of protecting Arjuna, you took. It was your compassion for me. And I want to see that
In
I.
Shamram Shankirtan, there is one name of Sham like Vishwa Pratika Palana Sham.
Bhishma Pratigya,
Palaka Sham.
Palaka. So Bhishma did that Pratigya, the oath. I will do such such a war that Lord will have to break his own vows that I will not hold the weapon, have to use the weapon. And that happened. So I take refuge in that Krishna who protected Arjuna, breaking his own vows. All those who died in battle, 39. All those who died in battle, seeing you in front, have been absorbed into thy being. Everyone died because you are there. Looking at you, they got freed from all bondage. Bhagavan darshan. It is a darshan, Ishta darshan. So that was the plea. And also in Chondi we say, why not the Asura looking at your face, which is reddened like a rising moon? So how they could not, because your moon-like face was giving soothing effect. These examples are all similar examples. That means to even those warriors or these people who are not high enough to get liberation, to give them liberation, you are present there, you fought like this, and you worked like this. O you, charming resident of Arjuna's chariot, with reins and horse whip in hand, one hand horse whipping, and another left hand holding the reins of the horses. No? And that image, may this mind of mine about to face death attain to the highest delight in you. Let me think of that and then find my mind delight in Krishna and nothing else. 40. May my mind attain to delight in him whom the gopis, worshipped with their comely gait, play, sweet smile, and love-lorn looks, and as a consequence became overwhelmed with his love and began to imitate his doings in the infatuations of love and ultimately attained to oneness with him. The story when Krishna played the flute and then all the gopis felt that tremendous attraction and ran to see Krishna. And then afterwards, everyone saw that Krishna is dancing with her alone, and they felt the identity, Krishna and the gopi, the individual soul and the Lord, dancing in unison. So one Krishna became so many, and they are all thinking Jivatman with Paramatman, united. So that is that Krishna. He is doing the infatuation of love and ultimately attain to oneness with him. They all attain oneness with him. 41. There shines clearly before my eyes the divine being, the soul of my soul, who has looked at the wonder and intense delight by all in that grand assembly of sages and royalty gathered at the Rajasuya sacrifice of Yudhishthira, while he received the honor and worship of preeminence accorded to him by the master of sacrifice. That means there shines clearly, that means Bhishma is saying, before my eyes, I see the shining presence of Krishna, how the soul of my soul, who was looked at, everyone is looking at Krishna, when? With wonder and intense delight by all the grand sages who assembled in that Yudhishthira's Rajasuya sacrifice. Yudhishthira become the king, and there is a sacrificial fire they called Rajasuya. Raja, to become a Raja, probably they perform that. Putting a horse in the hanging there, I accept Yudhishthira as the king and emperor of this country. So every state they go, every state, what we call the kings, small kings, they will say, yes, I accept. So that when the horse went around all and everyone accepted, then they sacrificed the horse. And that sacrificial time, many sages and saints all appear as a holy function, ceremony. And there Sri Krishna was standing. So he is thinking of that Krishna who is shining presence was there in that group in the sacrificial program. Just 42. Just as one sun appears variously as the light in the eyes of everyone, so though one, he resides as if separately in the hearts of all beings he created. So he is only one, but he resides in everyone's heart. So how? As the one sun is only one, but appears various as the light in the eyes of everyone. And everyone's eye, there is some light which allows us to see. So like that, like the sun, he resides as if separately. The sun is separate there. But sun's light shines in our eyes and we see things. So similarly, he being one, Krishna being one, appearing so many, he resides as if separately in the hearts of all beings he has created. So created this universe and he resides in it. And Vedanta says, Tatsishtva Upanishad, Tadeva Anupravishat. He created that, and creating that he entered into every being. That means creation means we think that creator is separate and he created by the tools. If you take from dualistic standpoint also, to remove the duality, the Upanishad says Tat Srishtva Ekoham Bahushyava Prajayeti. He was one and he said, I will be many, and he became many. And creating many, he entered into everything. That means the difference it ceased. It is separate, separate, separate. But it is here. It is also here penetrated there. Because he is everywhere. He will have to penetrate everywhere. Nothing can exist beyond him. In the space. Everything should be in the space. All the stars and galaxies. So space is the space. So if you say space created this universe and space entered into it, we can understand a little bit. In similar way, God created that Narayana created this universe. We normally say Brahma is the creator. No? Here description goes, all glory goes to Narayana. So don't get confused with this. Sometimes people say Brahma is greater and Vishnu is this and this. These are all different traditions to grow their tremendous love for God. And my God has created this universe. He is the creator. He is the sustainer. He is the destroyer. No? That idea is given. So here also same about talking about Krishna. Krishna did it. That's why this Bhakti Shastra is always speaks to the highest esteem about their chosen idea. We Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda said, who is Ramakrishna? Do you know who is Ramakrishna? Ramakrishna is the from whom this whole universe has come. No? And then not only that, Ramakrishna, we are children of Ramakrishna. We have the power, tremendous power. We can crush the stars, unhinge this earth and throw into that space. My God, this earth, you cannot, 10-pound stone, you cannot rise and throw. And he said, I can raise this entire earth and throw into the space. I can chew the stars in my hand. What is that? Meaning, tremendous infinite energy I have. Why? Because I am Ramakrishna Dasa. So this is the same experience, no? Ultimate truth is the same, only in different name to help us to grow in love and devotion. So read of delusion, of multiplicity. May I now become one with that unitary being. So he's saying, just as the sun appears variously, as a light in the eyes of the everyone, so though one, he, the Lord, resides as if separately in the hearts of all beings he has created. Rid of delusion, of multiplicity, may I now become one with that unitary being. So last prayer, may being free from delusion, rid of delusion means free from delusion, of multiplicity. I was living in that multiple world, this table, bench, Rama, Sama, all these warriors, Arjuna, these, that, I, you, all separate. Let all duality and separateness dissolve, and I be merged into that, now become one, merge into one with that of unitary being, that unit reality, Satchidananda. That Krishna, Satchidananda Krishna. So here, devotees, Vaishnava devotees, they take it is all Krishna. No, here there is no other person but Krishna. But they are forgetting what the definition of Krishna. It is not the Krishna who is only with 2 arms and 2 feet walking in the ground, but he is the Lord of the universe, the whole universe coming out of him, and he pervades everywhere. He sits in the heart of all. So that Krishna is the object of worship. Saying so, this part, the yeah, Bhishma said last, Pratidishamivo na ekadha arkamekam samodhigatosmi vidhuyo bheda moha. Last word, vidhuta. Vidhuta means totally dhauta, washed. Washed away all my misconception, bheda, the separation. This is separate, that is. That's we live in duality, that's the separation. Swagata bheda, swajati bheda, and bijatiyo bheda. 3 types of bhedas are there. Swajatiyo, bijatiyo, swagato. So these 3. And these Vedas, all division, gone. It is only one reality, one Satchidananda. With this and moho, delusion makes us feel that these are all true. This division, I am separate, you are separate, my suffering, you are creating my suffering, I am creating your suffering. All these are in ignorance, moho, delusion. Let me now be free from all moho and delusion and think of that oneness. That was, he stopped. Now the narrator continues again. What he says? Then, 43 verse. Krishna evam bhagavati manobhagdrishti vrittivihi atmani atmanam aveshya shuanta shwasu paramat. Beautiful. Then Bhishma breathed his last, saying this prayer, that oneness, let all division vanish from my eyes, all duality goes away, and all delusion goes away. Saying so, Krishna, even Bhagavati, that Bhagavan Krishna, in him, Mano Bhag Drishti Vrittivi, Mano, mind, the mind of Bhishma, Bhak, his speech, focused in Krishna, Drishti, eyesight, totally concentrated on Krishna, Vrittivi, all the mental modification and thoughts centered around Krishna, Atmani Atmanam Avesha, bringing, getting absorbed his own self into the self. So Antasasha, he took the shasa, took it, Antas Uparamat, that's stopped. The breath, giving up the last breath. That is the idea. How they are controlled, no? They know, they prayed this way, and this type of high level of thinking at the point of death. And here you breach the Saguna and the Nirguna. Sakaro and the Nirakaro all breached. Duality vanishes, merging into the absolute. So this is the way to understand how death should be their ideal death. These are the books for that reading. And how one should lead the life. So the last point, all detachment, all delusion will be gone away. So then the Bhishma breathed his last, uniting himself with Bhagavan Krishna, the Supreme Self, with his vital energy suspended and his mind, speech, and sight directed to him in a unified mental mode, monobritti. All those assembled remain mute like a bird at dusk. Who is that? Let them come on the other way. Tell them to come on the other way. No. Huh? So, then 44 verse. All those assembled remain mute. Huh? Those who are in the whole total assemblage, they were mute like birds. The birds don't chatter anymore at the end of the day and the dusk when the sun sets. What they do? They come back and sit in their nest and try to rest. That means the tired bird, Bhishma, who did so much activity all through the life. We are also like the bird, a whole day working this and doing that and doing that. Being tired, you take a shelter in Krishna, and now to rest. No, beautiful. Although this is poetic book. Sampaddamanam aggayo bhishmam brahmani niskale sarve bhutsetusning vayangsi iva dinataye. So there, all those who assembled remain mute like bird and at dusk, and knowing that the great Bhishma had dissolved into Supreme Being, Brahman, then they get absorbed into the knowledge of Brahman. 45 verse. Then there arose, and at the announcement of this great event, the sounds of the kettle drums of men, as also of the gods, the good and the righteous among royalties, cried hail, and rain of the flowers fell from the heaven. The death, beautiful death, no? When he withdrew his mind like that and prayed like that, stopped his breath within, no more the skumbhaka, and then no breath, and then his mind was totally focused, and then he left his body. Then arose the announcement, and that death has been announced in the war field, no? the military, we call when some police and military officers die, what they call? Uh, it's called the state honor, no? With the kettle drum and beating of the drums, with that honor, it was all in the earth and in also heaven. Gods and goddesses, they also started but with the beating of the drum. Then Yudhishthira performed all the obsequies according after that, because Bhishma, his grandsire, grandfather passed away. The rites and rituals they will have to do. So they performed all the rites and obsequies according to the code and observed the mourning for a while. Through though Bhishma, who had attained to the highest state, required none of this. For him it is not necessary, but they did it. Only why? Just as a rule, society's rule. So performed all the last rites. The overjoyed holy men all sang praise of Krishna, couched in the most sacred and meaningful expression, and afterwards departed to their respective ashramas with their mind deeply engrossed in Krishna. All the sages who also came, they also thought about him, and then deeply engrossed in Krishna, they become absorbed in God. Afterwards, Yudhishthira and Krishna went to the Hastinapur to console the sorrow-stricken elders like Dhritarashtra, the blind king, and his austere wife Gandhari, who were grieving for their son, loss of their son. 49 verse. Then the great Yudhishthira, with the consent and blessings of Dhritarashtra and the congratulations of Sri Krishna, then assumed the reins of government of kingdom that had come down to him hereditarily and administered it accordingly to the laws of the land. See? Huh? So, Bhishma died, and with this type of life, leading the life, merging into Brahman consciousness, God one, and the last rites are done. From the battlefield, they went back to the palace and with Krishna, and then the blind king and the Gandhari, the wife, consoling them, and then Yudhishthira become the king. So this is the end of this chapter, 9th chapter, salvation of Bhishma. Next chapter will be, it's called Krishna after the Mahabharata war. So this will be very interesting. We'll read the next day. Krishna with the 10th chapter will start. Krishna after the Mahabharata war. What happened to Krishna? Krishna's job is done here. So he'll go back to Hastinapur and then do whatever. We'll hear about that next. Okay? Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Now we have some questions, I hear, so we'll.
Sure, if it is a question or comment.
Question or comment? Okay. What does any of these say about grieving loss? I am about to lose my childhood home and it hurts. I know I am supposed to say it is only an attachment. It feels like another death. Of course, that is true. When we lose our home, that's true. Where we live in ancestral home, where our for a long history is there from grieving loss. Grieving loss, we grieve when somebody dies. Any loss comes, we feel bad. These are realities of life. We cannot disagree. So, as you are also thinking losing your childhood home, it will hurt naturally. What can be done? But I know I'm supposed to say it is only an attachment. No, it is not an attachment. Yes, you can say, Because we are, as human beings, we are attached. But this is the opportunity when we can think also. If we can really retain, or if we can detach to keep my inner peace. It happens, it's a fact which is very painful. If I am to leave my home, which I lived from my childhood, you have to lose that. Yes, it is not a matter of joke. It is not simple philosophy in the head. It is realistic life. But you see, the war which we read just now, they've lost their everything. Everyone is killing each other, huh? Smilingly killing, and then praising, and then doing their last rites. You see, it is really to see the fun of it. Yeah? See, this is, disciple is saying, I will break the oath, the vows Krishna has taken. Krishna said, I will not take my weapon in the war. I will not participate in any. And Bhishma, such a warrior, he fought such a way to kill Krishna. Who is killing? His own dearest grandson, Arjuna. And they're killing, fight, real fight. It is not a matter of joke. It is not a theory. It is not a drama. In real life, yes, that killing is a weapon with weapon, striking each other, interjecting and dissent. And that moment, Krishna came and did that. How can you say Krishna's body is also getting affected by that? War is war. So these are realities. These are also war in our life, no? This house we live, a friend we have, friendship is gone, some relationship breaks. All these are realities of life. But Gita or this Bhagavatam is teaching us, it happens. It is inevitable. But how you can get out of it and what can you do under these circumstances? That's the point. What can you do? That is the point. If we try to detach, try your best to hold on. Each one is struggling. I will win the war. I will try to keep my house. I'll try to keep this relationship. Try all this. And ultimately, what happens? Accept it. And you see, just Bhishma died. All went with great reverence. And how he is lying down? He's lying on the arrows. Who made this arrow a bed? Arjuna. Huh? That is the way. You love someone and you put him on the arrows. This is the fact of life. But what to do? See how that mind can be put to God. That is the ideal they are presenting before us. And we will have to think in their line to get the eternal peace. This life is a fun. This life is a play. Its happiness is for 2 days. Its loss is also 2 days. Its gain is too much today. I did this. I was very happy. I got this appreciation. I did this and people didn't appreciate me. That's also for 2 days, 2 moments. When death comes, all things remain here. All our achievements, all our failures, all our success. What meaning it has? That is the meaning to understand in life. Play your part. Play your part. You are a Arjuna, you fight with your Duryodhana. You are a Duryodhana, kill Arjuna. Do all this. Fight, 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 fight. This is the but righteous fighting. That's the Gita suggests. That's righteous dharma. Do your dharma. And then accept whatever comes. And yes, tears will come in one way, and another way duty will go on and detach. Okay, I did my duty. But somebody died, somebody lived. What is there in it? So similarly, I think this is the only solution to hold on to the feet of God and to be detached that way. What can you do? Try your best. In the war, you see what a brutal war. Arjuna and Duryodhana, this entire, how many Okkoini Soini, how many thousands and how many, I do not know the number, I do not know. How many soldiers were in both army and how many were killed and how many were dead. It is said that India, one time, that time, they are all young to old, all are dead, men. The whole society was grieving in the loss of everyone. No? But that is duty, life's duty. You do that. Do your own all things and hands off. Cry, weep, yes, cry, weep. But no, it is all fun. It is all Lord's play going on. Like that. I think I am not giving an advice, but this is the lesson we hear from the Bhagavad. So I do not know any other way other than this. Second, everyone I have questioned. In Ramayana, it says the world is held by 4 elephants. What am I to make of this? Does anyone know? I love Ramayana, so I am troubled by this quote. We obviously know the physical earth is not held up by elephants. Is this symbol or something? How am I to understand this? I would suggest I have no idea. But
No,
4 elephants, somebody says answer.
I
You read 4 directions, the Gaja. Okay. That I'm not entering into those Ramayanas, those part of Ramayana. By my part is that you take the essential teaching of Ramayana. The Gaja on the 4. Now I get the response from here. It is from where? In our Amar Kosha.
before that.
Before that, he said Deva, Danava, etc.
No,
And
before
he,
that.
before that, I believe he is borrowing directly from Hindu mythology. The word turtle myth is present in the north. I mean, anyhow, I'm not interested in all these things to explain that. It is useless where he's holding in the trunk like that, or the horse, or in an elephant holding like that with the tusk. Those are things I'm not interested. We are Vedanta students. You take the essential teaching of one. It is held by some force. Okay, what's there? You take the essence, your teaching of Ramayana, not this, what is called mythological part of it. It has its explanation, but I am not a mythological person, so I don't understand that. You please study and ask Google. Google can help you. I don't want to get into it. I don't understand. I don't want to understand. My solution will be there. Love God. See what you learn from Rama, what you learn the devotion of Lakshmana and Bharata, how the ideal society, how the ideal king should behave, how the ideal wife should be, how the ideal brother should be. In the Ramayana, these are to be learned. How is ideal brother? How is ideal wife? And then Rama has been exiled, put to exile. And then Sita said, I will go. Why you will go? You stay. You are not being exiled. I have been exiled. But she didn't. She thought it is my dharma. And she followed all through and took all the trouble to live under the tree. There is no protection and no food, no shelter, nothing. So, if anything to be, you are not to do that exactly, but the sacrifice and the love. So all these things there are so many things. Brother, Lakshmana, and Bharata. Bharata was not greedy. Bharata was so upset when this thing happened in his absence. And Bharata then, I won't be king. He never sat on his throne. He put Rama's sandal and on the throne. And he sat at the feet and he ruled the country as a duty. Learn all these things in our life's duty, which is really very painful to perform in our situation. See, it is Rama. He has ordered me. It is his kingdom. I cannot be. It is his kingdom. It's God's kingdom. It's God's world. It's God's home. It's God's family. I am only caretaker. I only do for to please him. And I'm waiting. If 14 years pass, you don't come, then I will leave. I'm not going to rule anymore. Keep your words. No? So all these things, there are truthfulness and how that can be cherished. And there are even in life's odd situation like war, abduction. These are not easy things in life. But how the society we can learn out of those teachings? Let us take the spiritual lessons out of it and make our life meaningful, blissful. Thank you all, and we'll meet you again at the 7:30 class in the Santi Gita, the peace song of peace by Krishna. Again, Krishna. Thank you. Jai Ma, Jai Ma. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Swami, can I send